everyone. You are up front with Frank Rothstein on skiescrescentradio.com. Sitting with me as always, somewhere else, not pretty close, is of course Jade Zabrick, who seems to be wearing a Houston Texan t-shirt today, where she's getting ready for football season. Okay, what's going on with everybody? We had a good week. Well, it was a nice weekend. The weather held. It had a little rain, but it was nice. And before I forget, you can find us every week like you are now on skiescrescentradio.com, S-K-Y-E-S, crescentradio.com, and on Facebook on the page by the same name, or my page, Up Front with Frank Rothstein. You'll find us. We're there. It's just interesting this week. We had a little this and that going on. I'm making sure that I'm shared. I'm shared all over the place. Everyone can see what we're doing. There we go. Okay, there we go. I'm looking pretty good on TV today. This is essentially TV. I cannot believe it, but okay. I've been having some fun lately arguing, because I can't help but argue with the people on TikTok. And I love to see all these guys, all these people, all these guys who like to go up and give cops a hard time, and for no particular reason, taking their cameras, shoving it in their face, talking to them like they're less than dogs. The police who just don't even know why this guy is walking up to them, but they are. And the last video I saw was one of the supposed journalist was being asked for identification from the officer, which you do not have to provide identification just for no reason at all. But he's presenting himself, filming the police as a journalist who's now asking him for his credentials, which if you're going to claim to be who you are, you should at least have something on. Well, I just left a quick comment about it, and because I love to laugh at some of this stuff. Some of it really is funny. Some of it is good work, but a lot of it's funny. A lot of these guys are setting up scenarios where they call the police on themselves, and then they just go through a whole big thing, most probably to create a lawsuit and whatever. There's one guy out there who keeps telling everybody, I'm an attorney. I've never lost. I am an attorney. So anyway, this particular guy was a journalist. And as the comments went on, somebody started talking to me and saying, well, the Supreme Court of the United States, oh, excuse me, everything's abbreviated, SCOTUS, ruled on this about filming people in public. Well, yes, it did. But last week, in the Seattle Times, I was reading that in the state of Washington, that just because you have a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel or a social media outlet doesn't exactly make you a journalist. And that was the most recent ruling in the state of Washington. So we're going back and forth. It was a pretty friendly conversation, but pretty much I just kept telling this person, listen, just read this. Just read this. It's an entirely different subject. But I love how everybody claims to be a journalist because they have a social media page, or they have a YouTube page, or they're under somebody else's YouTube banner. They have as much claim to being a journalist as I have to be a member of the press. And I'm doing this 5 years. I'm coming up on 5 years at the beginning of August. Unless, for at least in New York State, for me to go around and claim that I'm a member of the press, the place where I work with has to be registered as press, and I have to be a member of it. To walk around simply saying I'm an independent journalist because I'm working on a project and I'm just taking pictures and taking my phone and shoving it in your face does not exactly mean that you're a journalist. It just means you say you are. Anyway, I get a kick out of watching TikTok videos with this. I laugh at a lot of them. Some of them are good work. Yes, they are. Not everything I see is pure nonsense, but a lot of them, oh yes. It's my right to sit there and take a look and take photos of a naval base and zoom in and look at them constructing the ship, and I can just stand here and photograph everybody walking in and out of the plant, and I just get a laugh out of a lot of it. Like I said, the world is my prop. It's all entertainment for me. What else is going on in the world? Well, as we know, unless you haven't, I don't know if you kept track today, they took down the other half of that building that collapsed in Florida. There were people petitioning to wait to try to rescue pets because there was still a half a building standing. People got out. They could not just grab that dog or their cat or their parrot or whatever they got in the house. And it's been days and days and but you know it's funny because cats are elusive. They find a way a lot of times to squirm out and hide. And as I was saying last week, and to many people I speak with, if somebody was fortunate enough to be in the basement or in the if there's a lower garage somewhere, they might have had a chance. I don't know. It's been a lot of days. So unless they found the leaky pipe, you know, it's pretty rude. But people had to leave their pets behind. That's a tough thing to want to do. It's a tough thing to have to do. Not even want. Tough thing to have to do. But they took the building down. Hopefully, whatever pets were in there, if they were able to get out somehow, they did. But maybe there's those little pockets where I don't know. But that is what happened, and that's what's going on, at least in Florida with this building. Not to mention they're looking to get some storms this weekend, which doesn't affect the wreckage, but at least I don't think it does. But animals, I feel sorry for animals. Like I've said before, when drunk people hop into the lion's cage, the tigers and tiger's cage, they want to sit there and take selfies with the wild animals. I always root for the animal every time. People do stupid things, and I root for the animal. What is this? What is this? Did anyone keep track a few days ago? This was really from June 29th. The story got out a few days, the story broke on June 29th. There's a spa, California, called WI, the WI Spa, WI Spa, WI Spa. And somebody who's a trans woman was in the female locker room where there was women, where there was kids, and there's the trans woman walking around pretty well exposed, swinging in the breeze, if you got an idea of what I'm saying. Swinging in the breeze. And this led to a big, huge video that everybody was seeing if they were, that was out there. And the spa didn't seem to want to do anything about it. They didn't care. They're going with, we respect people's rights, we respect this, we respect that, and the city of Los Angeles, state of California, and pretty much the woman who was shooting the video and making the complaint was saying, pretty much, it's bad enough that women are in there. There's kids in there. I'm not saying there's 3-year-olds in there. There's probably, it's a spa. It could be a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, a 14-year-old. There are girls in there, and this trans woman, this guy is walking around, and it says, genitals being allowed to disrobe in a spa's female section. That's one of the lines in the article. And I found this to be a little bit odd, a little bit, whoever created the rules, I guess, I don't know if they gave it as much thought as they should. And when people say they're trans, it does not necessarily mean they've made the big decision and finally received sexual reassignment surgery, which means having something chopped off, having genitalia chopped off, or having it built if it's trans male. So pretty much you have physically a guy, a male, walking around the female locker room with kids in there with no regard for anything. Now, I'm looking at this video and I see some guy saying, well, he has the right, he has the right, he has the right. Okay, he has the right. But I somehow, in this case, disagree. Now, it does not mean that I'm against anyone who's trans this or trans that. That is not the case. I go with my theory of people who do almost anything they're doing in life. Someone's car alarm. This is it. I'm sounding the alarm. Um, I go with the theory of no matter what you're doing, besides doing taste and with style, when possible, is be aware. Be aware of what you're doing, where you are doing it, and how other people will react. This does not mean that if you're walking down the block and every last thing you do must be, it does. That's not what. It does not mean that everybody has to approve of every last thing. You should not seek approval from everyone that on every last thing you do. You don't have great table manners. What can I do? You want to call yourself a woman? What can I do? That's your business. You want to call yourself a man? Again, what can I do? Your business. I have a whole list of sexual orientations and designations. Your business. But when there's other people, and especially in a place like a locker room where there may be minors, even if they're on the upper end of minor, if they're going for driving lessons, if they're getting out of high school, if they're in the female locker room, sort of use your head. And I'm not sure what's going to happen with this at the end of this story, but what wound up happening because of the complaint that went viral on the internet, there was, of course, protests. There were protests. And I found this story, well, of course, the New York Post, because they pick up almost everybody's feed. Said black-clad counter-protesters, including one wearing an Antifa flag as a cape, clashed with demonstrators outside of a Los Angeles spa where the customer complained about a transgender woman exposing their penis in front of children. Photos and video clips posted on a Twitter site shows. Okay. Well, that's going to happen. And of course, I'm reading this, they're bringing Jesus into it, they're bringing the Bible. I don't need the Bible and I don't need Jesus to tell me what I think. But it's any reason to protest now, and I have to say, if someone feels like disagreeing with me, that's great too. But if you're female and disagreeing with me, I respect your right to do it. And tell me when you're going to the gym and I'm going to declare that I am female. I'm going to join the gym. Then tell me when you're going to be there. We'll meet. We'll have lunch. We'll work out together. Then we'll get cleaned up together. And it doesn't matter if I'm physically whatever, physically a male. My hair is, if you're on Facebook, you can see me. This is going to be on YouTube. You can see me. My hair is long enough. See? I can pass. I fit the requirement. I say I am. So I fit the requirement. And that's just how I see it. If anyone has any questions about that or a comment, feel free to write to me at upfrontfrank@gmail.com. Upfrontfrank@gmail.com. But as I said, we have Facebook pages where we would love to hear a comment on it. So you can go to Sky's Crescent Radio and see my show there. You can go to my Facebook page, Up Front with Frank Rothstein, and tell me what you think about this topic there. And I'm easy. I won't be offended. Tell me you agree with me. Tell me you don't. It's okay. I'm easy. What is going on next in the world? Oh my, oh my, oh my. On a quick note, since COVID has rounded the turn, and while it's going to be with us for a while as a condition, the life is going on. As always, life goes on, then it doesn't, then it does. And the United States Supreme Court on Tuesday has declined to end the federal government's temporary ban on evictions, which is scheduled to expire, well, this month. So the High Court ruled 5-4 that the ban was illegal, but he noted that it is scheduled to expire soon, which means they're leaving it alone, because what's going to make a difference in 3 weeks? If you want life to go on, apparently people do, that requires all parts of your life go on. It may not be convenient, but yeah, at some point in time, you are going to have to pay rent again. We're going to have to pay taxes again. You're going to have to go back to work again. With all these companies where people are leaving their job, they'll find somebody. They'll find somebody cheaper than you. Excuse me, different iced tea. Not bad. This one is just pure, unsweetened black tea. I like it. Yeah, that thing of I don't want to go back to an office, which is fine, but better find the job. Somehow we can get away with it because, you know, as I was reading last week and the week before, the investment firms, investment companies, all have big staff and they want people back in. And if they leave, they'll get somebody else. It may take a little time, but I have learned that everybody is replaceable. Believe it or not, I am replaceable. And believe me, there's also trust me, there is somebody else out there with my name on them and they can do this show as well as I can. So yes, I am replaceable. But it really is time that people start getting back to their life. But there are many who are resigning from all their companies, their various forms of work. They don't want to go in. They think they're going to discover something and find companies that are going to hire them to give them big money and stay home. Plus, hey, listen, I got skills. I can do it from home. Then again, the only one who can really do it from home, well, there are a lot of people who can do their work from home. That is true. If you work on the internet anyway, and you can rig up a lot of things through the phone, if you have website businesses, yes, then you can do it from home. But if you have a job where your presence was required, you may have to split your time at the very least, split time. So Jay could do it from home, but if she wants to get on stage again, sing her songs, she may just have to go to a place where there's a stage. It might just happen that way. So it's just the way, if you have to be there, sometimes you just have to be there. What else is going on in the world? There's so much of it. Oh, this story. Wow, yeah, I didn't forget it. I just didn't realize I had it so high up on my list. Do you remember that show, To Catch a Predator? That I believe was on NBC. That was the host, Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen. He is wanted in Michigan. This story is from the other day on July 1st. He is wanted in Michigan for skipping court. I like this. It says maybe he'll catch himself. To Catch a Predator host Chris Hansen has a warrant out for his arrest after skipping court in Michigan on Thursday. He was supposed to appear in a Shiawassee County courtroom in connection with a sting operation he assisted authorities that led to the October 2020 arrest of 3 men who sought to meet up with underage girls. So he didn't show up. I don't get it. But anyway, 2019, he was arrested in Connecticut and charged with larceny for allegedly purchasing about $13,000 in merchandise with checks that later bounced. So there you go. Now he has double trouble. Now he can't even help the people that he had a whole network behind him trying to help. One way or another, this guy has screwed himself. Oh, well. Big money settlement, big case came out. Boy Scouts of America. They have reached an $850 million settlement with tens of thousands of sexual abuse victims. Uh, that case has been going on for a while, and I didn't really keep too much track of it. I knew it would be reported at some point, but it says tens of thousands of people who say they were sexually abused while scouts with the excuse me, abused while scouts and filed suits against the Boy Scouts of America have reached an $850 million settlement, the largest in child sexual abuse case in United States history. More than 84,000 people are part of the lawsuit against the 110-year-old organization. I didn't realize that the Boy Scouts are 110 years old, but okay. Actually, as a kid, I was a Cub Scout. I didn't have that green, I had the blue uniform. I was a Cub Scout for 1 year. It was quite boring. But yes, this is Boy Scouts have filed for Chapter 11, trying to get around some costs. They have faced who knows how much in legal fees. Anyway, they're settling for big money. I'm not sure what the Boy Scouts are really worth, but we're going to find out. And I'm not sure how the payouts will go, but we're going to find out. And the Boy Scouts, well, they got some. They are what they are apparently. And again, I don't trust too many people who just love working with kids, especially when guys who want to work with kids all the time. I don't know. That's just how I see it. But okay, at least we got the deal on the Boy Scouts of America. Hmm. So I was reading on the 3rd, a couple of days ago, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida has now been served with a federal lawsuit over a new law. Um, and that's because he signed a law requiring annual surveys of students' beliefs at public colleges and universities in the states. The survey seems like a rather blatant intimidation tactic. That's what it says here. The new law, which has already taken effect, suggests that something like thought police are gearing up to get deployed against Florida college students. And they want to know your religion, your political beliefs. They want to know who you are, is what it is. And according to the suit, he has violated the First and 14th Amendment of the Constitution, which protects free speech and free association. Free speech and free association. We know what free speech is. Free association would be, I guess, you can take your choice of whether you're like Nazis, wanting to know if you're associating with Jews or not, or anyone else they're against, or if you're a student of McCarthyism, then you may know somebody who might be linked, maybe, perhaps, to communism. We want to know who you know. We want to know what you think, who you are, who you align yourself with, and that is pretty much what this case is about. And I hope this is by the Justice Department. I am hoping that Governor DeSantis loses this one because that is a horrible way to have to live, and it's no one's business. Which is why when I, I register as independent, so when I walk in there, you'll never know who I'm for. But even if I register one way or the other, whether it's Republican or Democrat, once I go in to vote, you'll never know who I'm there for. And that is pretty much, unless you really know me or know how I operate or why I operate that way, you will never know, especially when I'm in conversation about who I vote for. Um, yeah, this is just to me a very bad law. Trying to find out from kids, essentially kids in college, they haven't graduated. Maybe the first girl going to graduation. They want to know who they support, where they support them. Oh, this is not good. Um, and if you're not really a fan of following his law, he's looking to cut funding. So that's what he's doing. There you go, Governor Ron. He may make a run for president in 2024, providing Donald Trump does. But that's good luck with that. What else is going on? Has anybody been reading the news over the last couple of days? There are proposals that would bring 24-hour nightlife districts to New York City. So, like sections here and there. Like in Vegas, Las Vegas is not the same as Reno, is not the same as Henderson, is not, and in New York, well, Manhattan is not the same as going to Rochester or Staten Island or Utica or anywhere else. So the New York would be proposing in the city to put in sections of 24-hour nightlife. They're looking at countries like Amsterdam and other places that have 24-hour. Matter of fact, we have a New York's nightlife czar who is pushing to create 24-hour entertainment districts where it will be okay for the booze to flow, the bass to thump, and the bodies to sway around the clock. And that's a quote, by the way. That's not mine. This is corny. They said, despite the city already partying like it's 1999. I wouldn't have written that. That's cheesy. But okay. Well, I was looking at some photos. We know Times Square could do it. That's always lit up anyway. The Lower East Side of Manhattan, I'm hearing it's getting pretty loud out there all day and night. There are so many bars, all the liquor licenses that were granted to businesses in the Lower East Side. They're up and running. Everyone's out over there. So much so that the DJs are in the street. Why not? It's summertime. And, lots of good people are getting robbed and the drugs are going around. And, we got where it's open, it's open. So anyway, that is what's happening in Manhattan. Which, by the way, we had some nice fireworks here last night. I was looking at the top of the Empire State Building from a little bit of a distance. There was one burst went off. It looked like they were blowing up the whole tower. So what can I say? They were blowing up the point of the Empire State Building, but it looked pretty good then. There was fireworks from all different sections. The sky was nice and lit up. Well, I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but we're going to find out. Right now, it's a proposal. We'll see what happens. Certainly, I'm guessing it will not become part decision for this mayor because this mayor, Mayor de Blasio, is on his way out. So they may leave it for the next mayor, whoever that may be. I was reading a story this week. Sabrina Zohar owns a clothing company in California. She's a clothing designer, an Instagram account that has 17,000 followers. And she tried out a filter on Instagram. For those of you who do not know what a filter is, press a button, choose what you like, and this appears over your body, over your face, whatever it is. Could be something simple as glasses, could be it could be a variety of things. In this case, she took tattoos, body tattoos, had the filter on, showed up, looked like nice artwork. And then there was a problem because within that tattoo, which is appearing in this photo on her right arm, is a swastika. This is not her design. Let's get this correct. This woman did not create this. She hit a button. It's an assigned filter on your body. Done. And there's a swastika. And she had to get that off, I guess, delete the post, because Instagram now has to explain this to everybody, why within some created supposed art form of a filter is there a swastika. And the person who created the design claimed it's not a swastika, it's from the ancient Greek and the Aztecs and this, and it's meant to be wealth and health and all the good things, which this is a symbol that does predate Nazism. However, they're going to be hard pressed to find anybody who will look at anything in this shape or size, no matter what direction it faces, no matter which degree, how many degrees it points at, whether it's flat or crooked or this way or that way, or whatever it is. They're going to have a hard time convincing anyone that this is anything other than a swastika. And I had shared this to a friend of mine on Facebook, or actually, I take it back. He came to my page and he commented on my post and says, "Well, it is. It was a symbol before, and the angle and this and that and this and that, and it's backwards." I said, "Well, and let me wrong. This is a friend of mine who's from Poland. He is not for Nazis. He hates that. But he says, well, it's also backwards." I said, well, it's only backwards if you're standing on the other side. If I put up a statue in the field of a swastika, yeah, if I'm on one side, it faces correctly. If I'm on the other side, it's backwards. So yeah, if you have a flag of it, yeah, it depends on which way the breeze is blowing, and you have the right side or you have it backwards. So Instagram has a little smoothing over to do. Hopefully, Sabrina Zahar does not have any problems with her business, and hopefully Instagram backs her up and explaining this is not in any way her doing. Next case. Now, this is a simple story. We can switch around. I can shift gears. I was reading something from, the company TED that gives all the seminars, TED Talks, TED this, TED that. Matter of fact, you can go TED.com. It's a very interesting site. The caption simply reads, this is actually an old story, which I still find to hold true, is if you really want to remember a moment, try not taking a photograph. Try not taking a photo. Don't worry about your selfies. This is what I'm saying now. And I agree with it. You're so busy not being in your own moment, you're worried about what the camera's seeing. You're not seeing it, the camera's seeing it. And it's the way it is. Everyone's busy holding up their phone for some reason at an angle like this, with that smile that has a half a pucker on it, taking a picture of themselves, no matter where they go. Matter of fact, they're just simply taking a picture of what they're watching, but they're not really watching, let's say, the concert. They won't say they went to see live music. And there it is. The band is on stage. They're playing their hearts out for you, and all you could do is take out a phone and start grabbing. You're not really watching the concert. You're not really hearing the music. You're just busy seeing what moments you can capture. I don't even think right now that if you told an 18-year-old it's a Kodak moment, they would know what the hell you're talking about. But I fully agree with this. Put your phones down and enjoy yourself and be in your own moment. Be there. Have a good time with it. I mean, I wouldn't. Personally, I'm not big on taking pictures. I don't mind snapping a few here and there, but I don't need to take a picture of every last one, every last place I go. Someone asked me why, and my response is, if I need a picture to remember you or where we were, probably my memory is gone, and the picture won't help me anyway. But that's just how I figure it. That's just how I look at it. Put the cameras down. You don't need it. And that should not be the make or break decision, the make or break detail when buying yourself a phone. How good is the camera? Well, if you thought the last camera you had was great, certainly the new model could be a little more advanced, but by how much? And you're only paying a lot of money for it. Just to take pictures of you and your friend standing somewhere against a brick wall, which designates nothing. It could be anywhere. What else is going on? This is one of the stories that I liked, that I found really interesting. It's from May 24th. And I got this from Smithsonian Magazine. want to read, it's an interesting magazine. Excuse me. There's a new device that allows someone with paralysis to type by imagining handwriting. They use the male subject, so it says man. And it pretty much says when the man visualizes his written messages, a pair of electrical sensors measure his brain activity and translates it into letters. Now we're getting into technology I invest with. And this one here originally appeared in this actually has come out in a few places. It was told on NPR radio. It's told here, and it says an experimental brain-computer interface has allowed one man who is paralyzed below the neck to gain the ability to type by thinking about handwriting, and that's according to research published on May 12th in the journal Nature. Original story in Nature. The man became paralyzed after a spinal cord injury in 2007 and joined the research project at Stanford University and the Howard Hughes Medical Institute 9 years later. Ian Sample reports from The Guardian. Okay. After years of development, the man can use the device to write up to 18 words per minute when connected to the system with 94% accuracy on each letter. When the scientists added autocorrect to the program, the accuracy improved to 99%. Okay. I think that is brilliant. I think that is fantastic. And it could have it says it has some problems with letters that look similar, like letter H, letter N. That could be a problem. But that is pretty terrific. But I was telling a story about years ago. This is over 10 years ago. I was looking at a woman in a video. She was a quadriplegic. She's in a hospital bed. And they had this, like, two gigantic robotic arms connected to her head. And obviously they had practice because they're filming this now. And she always said that I remember she said that one of the things she missed most was being able to feed herself chocolate. She loved chocolate, and to simply pick a piece up and put in, that's something she missed. One of the biggest things she's missed. Like a lot of situations, it's the little things. And I'm watching these big giant arms that look to be about, I don't know, 6 feet long at least 6 feet long, come down like two hooks, just like that, right? Go into a plate, pick it up, and somehow she got the chocolate into her mouth. Now, I'll give you, this is a big, ugly monstrosity of an arm, but to her, I'm sure it looked beautiful. And she was able to feed herself chocolate again with a hook, rapidly. And I thought that was fantastic. Now, if you could sit there with new technology and create an interface so someone can write and now send out letters or type what they want, maybe even tell you the little things like what they want to eat, if they need their nose scratched, if they're thirsty, something they can tell you what's going on. Because otherwise, much like dealing with infants and pets, you sort of have to guess. No one really knows. You have to guess. So I thought, this is genius. And this, to me, outweighs any improvement of the cell phone camera that you could possibly bring. I think this is a beautiful enhancement of technology. Wow, we are coming up. Wow, this hour's flying by. Did anybody see that video of Mark Zuckerberg on his electric surfboard, which doesn't even hit the water, with him holding the flag, zipping across a lake? I'm not quite sure what he's doing. This is about as impressive as when Donald Trump stood on the balcony of the White House facing the crowd of no one. There was nobody there. So I don't know what Mark is doing, but he has $132 billion. And if he wants to go across a lake with a flag, who's going to stop him? But okay, good luck to him. What did it say? He caked on an obscene amount of sunscreen. Well, yeah, Mark Zuckerberg is fair skinned, and even rich guys can get a sunburn and freckles. By the way, he used the song "Take Me Home, Country Roads," which I don't know if he can hear it because he was on the water, so he had to edit it in for him. He's zipping. Oh, please. Let's see. Which one do I want to read next? Which one do? Yeah, well, I got this one. Okay, we got that one. I know. I'm sitting here tripping along, singing my song, so to say. I was reading today that there were hackers behind the holiday. There was a holiday crime of hacking a million different devices, and people who did it demanded $70 million in ransom. Cybersecurity was once again bypassed. So it says here the hacker gang behind the international crime spree that played out over the 4th of July said they've locked out more than a million individual devices and demanding $70 million in Bitcoin to set them all free in one big swoop, which would mean hitting a button free. The gang, the Russia connected Are Evil, or well, I'm going with Are Evil because they're reading Are Evil, is the best known for previously. What is that? Oh, I'm getting nothing. That's something on my computer. The gang is known for hacking JBS, one of the largest meat suppliers, and briefly halting its operations in North America. Okay, they know how to do it, but then they they initially asked for $45,000 for each device to unlock it one by one. Then they came up with the number of $70 million for the whole group. Except, well, they may be quite intelligent in how they are doing this, but somebody doesn't know how to do basic math. Because if you take 45,000 and go by 1 million, you get $4.5 billion. So somebody is shortchanging themselves, and well, okay, government's going to be looking into who did it. And certainly, all but one of them is a genius. Somebody can't do basic math. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that one. Me, I'd rather throw the device away than hand anybody a dime. I don't care how much money you're worth. Never give in to people because they will only wind up doing it again. It's 5:45. Look at that. Things are going pretty well here. There was there was a video from Georgetown University, where a lot of the students who are American are now embarrassed to be Americans. And one of the porter went down there and they're questioning some of the students. Yeah, Ophel Jacobson, a reporter for Campus Reform, and she's talking to the students who generally are upset about the way things are in America now. But then again, they're all 20 years old, and everything they're seeing now has been going on for the last, oh, in a build up over what, the last 6 years. So I could see where they, as they're entering adulthood, they may be a bit dismayed. But yeah, they're all embarrassed. Someone would consider leaving the country. Okay. So the reporter finally started asking them, where would you think of going? No one really had an idea. And which country do you think is better than America? And they really didn't have an answer for it. They didn't have any thought as to, well, if I'm not going to be here, I might as well, I'd rather go there. One of the students said, which country would I like to go to? Maybe Europe. There you go. Georgetown University. What country do you want to go to? Europe. Well, okay. Go to Europe. Find yourself. That was always a thing. I'm going to Europe to find myself. Um, Well, there's a lot of anti-Semitism in Germany and France. You can try that out for a change. But then again, if you're not Jewish, well, you may not have a problem. But okay. But I got a kick out of that. No one had a plan as to where to go, where they would want to go, or what country would be better for them. But one person picked one country that is really a continent. Next. Oh man. There's a new app, by the way, new social media app. This comes from one of Donald Trump's former, let's say, former spokesman, and it's called Getter, Gettr. This one says they will not go with the people who do not want to express. They will, you will not be restricted in what you say and your ideas and all that other crap. Basically, it's a conservative app. Where you can talk. I'm sure Donald Trump will have a page there, will have an account, and this is where Getter says they'll be getting back their freedom of speech, have superior product, but they were hacked immediately, and they had to straighten out that problem. So they opened it without security. Good luck. There was one story that really pissed me off this week. I got this on June 30th, and of course, I haven't been able to get here. Uh, it says child dies after being thrown 27 times in a judo class. 7-year-old boy died that Tuesday when taken off of life support after sustaining severe brain damage during a judo class in which he was repeatedly thrown to prove he wasn't up to the challenge of martial arts. The Taiwanese child, identified only as Wei, WEI, had been on life support for close to 70 days. This was with an instructor. So this wasn't kids playing around. There was an instructor over 60 who was not licensed, who even threw the child himself, threw the kid himself onto the mat. I've taken martial arts training. The first thing we learn is we practice in here. This is what we do. No one gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt. And especially the kids. Even when the adults work with the kids, and that has happened. If they're in the class with us, and I have worked with kids, we go out of our way to make sure that the kids leave safe. First of all, the human body of a child is not like that of an adult. There are so many bones in the body that's not even fully formed, you're not fully solidified. It's almost like playing with taffy in a lot of scenarios. Matter of fact, when I was a kid, I broke my coccyx, my coccyx. It's like taffy that you keep on waving and it's okay until finally, eventually, and that's what happened. I was about 16. I played a lot of handball, paddleball, kept moving, and one day, just it happened. You're throwing this kid onto the mat. I don't care if it's a cushion mat. You're throwing the kid onto a mat over and over and over. And he keeps on screaming, my leg, my head, I don't want it, asking him to stop, but he's a child. He's respecting the instructor, who proceeds to have this continue. When the kid passes out, it says the instructor accuses him of faking it. But I don't get it. The family is filming this. The family was there, and they're not stopping it. 27 times. Oh, believe me, I'd be on that mat grabbing my kids so fast. The coach is in his late 60s and is released on what in American money would be $3,583 bail. Out there, it's a fortune. Let's try it that. Let's put it that way. Out there, $3,600 is a fortune. But a child died because someone who was not competent to do their job, and other kids just didn't know when to stop, and this kid died. And I really find that infuriating, considering all that I was told. Then, because I'm running out of time, there are new guidelines. I like this one. There are new guidelines to redefine obesity to curb fat shaming. This is a podcast actually from last year, which is still being discussed. And I hear these stories over and over. You know, you're fat shaming, everyone's being shamed, and they had new phrases and ways of looking at it, but there are no new guidelines that you can get to have people ridicule those that you don't find to be physically and visually acceptable. It's just the way it goes. It really is just the way it goes. I got this story again just from the other day. And again, excessive screen time is linked to obesity in US preteens. Well, I knew that. I knew that 10 years ago. They're sitting on the couch. They're sitting in their bed playing their video games. Then they had bigger units to play with. Now it's a phone. Matter of fact, you're seeing kids now who are 10 with the same phone their parents have. And they're playing their games. They're doing what they got to do. Nobody gets dirty. To me, a child should get dirty. A child's not supposed to go home cleaner than when they left the house. Matter of fact, if they come home with a supposed scraped knee, if the kid's bleeding a little bit, so much the better. If they're dirty, so much the better. They bruise their arm, they bruise their leg. Good, good. Let them buy a ball. Let them try to catch a ball for a change. Maybe they'll develop some social skills while they're at it. And when they get to be a little bit older, they won't fall apart the second someone says something to them. And anyway, that is coming up to the hour. So now we know, protect the kids at all times. Guys who claim to be women, cover up in the locker rooms, please. And if any of the women, again, disagree with me, tell me when you're going to the gym, and I will join and claim to be a woman, and I have every right to go into the locker room. Other than that, everything is going along according to plan, I guess. I don't know whose plan it is. I guess it has to be someone in middle management. Oh, yes, here it is. One last story before I go. I knew I almost forgot something. There's a flying car that completed a test flight. I believe it's in England. I got this from BBC. It's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. There you go. It's a prototype of a flying car that has completed a 35-minute flight between international airports in Nitra and Bratislava, Slovakia. That's where it is. At a height of 8,200 feet. It had clocked up to 40 hours in the air so far. And no, it has not crashed. It is, to me, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is a pretty cool car, which is a real car. Doesn't have the same style and look, but it is pretty cool. Yeah, the car is flying. Then again, actually, this piece of technology would be Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. If it's a car that's driving in the ocean, it comes out of James Bond. And that is the story. The cars are flying. I guess now the cows will jump over the moon. And that is the story. You waiting for cows to jump over the moon, Jade? Don't forget, people, the train walkers are heading to Arlene's Grocery in the Lower East Side. If you can make it through the crowds and not get too drunk on the way to the bar, you'll see the train walkers. What is it, August 1st? At Arlene's Grocery in the Lower East Side. Do you have the address? I don't really have the address off the top of my head. Either way, it's on Stanton Street. You'll find it. You can't help it. Everyone there knows. Ask a direction. If anybody there is coherent, they can point you that way. Just make a right and go that way. And that's where you'll see the train walkers doing their thing. And that all starts in August. Right now, they're fine-tuning their act. They're getting everyone together. And they're getting the new T-shirts lined up. And everything is going according to plan. Again, this one's Jade's plan. My plan is to find This is find places to eat that's not underachieving and not a fortune of money for nothing. And I want better iced coffee. That's my plan. Other than that, I hope everyone had a great holiday. Hope nobody decided to hold firecrackers in their hand. Um, and I trust nobody decided to drive while drunk. I hope. Again, if you'd like to try this on your own, give it a shot. I could do it, so could you. Write to skiescrescentradio@gmail.com. And then you can find out how to do this on your own. And if you want to find out about where the train walkers are playing, write to go to trainwalkers.com. You'll find the email address there at Gmail, trainwalkers@gmail.com. And that is the story. I will see everybody next week. And until then, same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great week. Have a good night. Stay cool. See ya.